Check the description for the following discount codes. Before we get into the video, don't forget Sim Racing Studios Power Win giveaway competition is running right now. Details in the description. Why am I selling my DOF Reality M2 motion platform? It's not because I'm upgrading to some fantastic full motion rig. That's definitely way out of reach for my budget. It's not because I'm doing a small incremental upgrade to maybe something just a little bit better. So why am I selling it? And it's not because there's nothing wrong with it either. It's not because there's nothing wrong with it. It's not because there is anything wrong with it. That's what I meant to say. It all works perfectly and it's great. So why do I want to get rid of it? Well, there's two reasons really. The first reason is at some point in the future, I would like to have, a full motion system where the whole cockpit moves, as much as is realistically possible. But that is a long way off because that's thousands and thousands of pounds. The second reason is I need a sort of middle of the range wheel shifter and pedal setup to use as like a test equipment for when these cockpits that I have come in. At the moment I use a G920, which is fine, but as some people rightly point out in the comments, the G920 doesn't put a lot of stress or strain, on the cockpits. Now, obviously, I do my best to add physical pressure myself to try and demonstrate things like flex and wobble. And I think I do a reasonable job of showing that. But it would be nice to have something a little bit, maybe, a high-end sort of belt-driven wheelbase to throw on these rigs as I get them in to test them. Now I've obviously got a TSPC Racer, that's my daily driver on my GT Amiga Prime behind me, and the next step up from that is of course a direct drive wheel. You could sidestep to the Fanatic wheelbases, but whilst their top belt driven base is a touch better, it's not enough in my opinion to warrant the change. If you're going to change at this point, you may as well go direct drive, and there's cheap offerings from the likes of Sim Magic and what have you. I'm not really a fan looking at the reviews of those cheaper end direct drive wheels. They seem to lack detail and response compared to some of the others like Fanatic, for example. And also there's compatibility issues. So whilst I play a lot of Dirt Rally, I also like to have a go on Forza, on Need for Speed, when there was a decent I was playing Need for Speed Underground yesterday, the original Need for Speed Underground from 2003. And using direct drive wheels makes things like playing those non-sim games very difficult. They don't just work out the box. So what I want to do is get a Fanatic DD1. Two reasons: compatibility, like I just mentioned, with non-sim racing titles, and also it's been out a couple of years, it's tried and tested, the firmware's matured. I have the V3 pedals, I have a Fanatic shifter, it'll all match, it's all part of the same ecosystem. And to me, I like tidiness and that will look tidy. So that's one of the reasons I want a DD1. Also, they're not mega money. You can, basically what I've opted for is the DD1 and then the Podium hub. And then I've bought like is it Momo? No, I bought a Sparco rally steering wheel. Sparco 215, I think it is, that's going to bolt onto there. So that's going to be my new setup. And I'm going to be able to then use my TSPC Racer. And I've got the Thrustmaster shifter to go with it here as well. And I need to pick up some pedals. That's what I'll be using to test cockpits with going forward. Just because I think it looks a little better for the channel, and it gives me an excuse to buy a direct drive wheel. Now obviously direct drive wheels, even though the Fanatic one's not mega money, it's still over £1,000. So I thought to myself, I want to sell my M.2 motion, or M2 motion platform. I think this was about £1,200. I'll probably sell it for 700 quid or something. I don't know. I'll have a look and see what things are going for. The reason I'm looking down here is because it's down here on the floor. The power supply for it is sat here on the table. Now, you might be thinking, oh, but you're giving up motion just for a wheel base upgrade. And yeah, I kind of am. But what spurred this all on is because for the last couple of weeks, my motion platform, hello Ori, what can I do for you? My motion platform hasn't been set up. Obviously, I've changed rigs. I actually had to reinstall my whole PC the other day. Hadn't been done in 5 years and things just weren't running well. Anyway, long story short, I haven't been using my motion platform for a couple of weeks, and you soon get used to not having it. And I found that I'm actually faster without it on than I am with it on. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not anywhere near as fun playing something like Dirt Rally with the motion platform off. You know, specifically for rally, you get thrown all over the place. You know, if you go watch a real rally driver sort of cockpit video, being thrown around all over the place, over the lumps, the bumps, direction changes, altitude changes. You know, it's rally drive is harsh from a physical point of view. And I set up my M2 to replicate that as best as I can, and it really throws you around. You know, you go over a big jump and you land, and it's bang, you really feel you've landed. You know, and the same when you're going over bumps, you really get that, and that's awesome, and it's really good. But it makes it hard to accurately steer because you're being thrown around like this. You imagine trying to hold a steering wheel and do some precise steering inputs whilst I'm being lobbed around. Now, you might speculate that it's because it's a seat mover rather than the full rig moving, and that may well be the case. If it was a full motion rig where me and the steering wheel are moving as one, we might find it's a different story. But that's not what I've got, so that's of no help whatsoever. What I've got is a seat mover, and what I play is Dirt Rally 2, and I tune it to throw me around just like I'm in a rally car being thrown around. So I've got this little Facebook group between me and a few friends, about 7-8 of us, and we do monthly Dirt Rally challenges. We've only just started this. The winner from the previous month picks the next stage and car, and basically we're all at our homes because we're all locked away. You try and put in a faster time than all the rest of us, and you post it up in the group, and we've got a little leaderboard, and it's just a bit of fun. I like doing things, you know, with my mates, and even though we're locked down at the moment, this is something we can all do from our homes. A little bit of competition because we all like to be that bit quicker than everyone, you know. And you come home from work and you look in the group and someone's fucking beating your time and you're like, bollocks, need to get back on the rig and try and take first place back or second place or wherever you may be. So it's a lot of fun. But yes, I noticed that I'm quite a bit slower and I'm struggling more with my M2 motion platform on. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to sell the motion platform, as much fun as it is and as well as it works. I want to put that money towards a direct drive wheel. That solves the issue with me wanting a better wheelbase for testing out cockpits for reviews. It solves the issue of me having to turn the motion platform off to be competitive with my friends. And, you know, it gives someone else the opportunity here in the UK to have one of these motion platforms because I'll probably put it on Facebook Marketplace. In fact, by the time this video's gone live, it's probably already gone. Because sim racing hardware is hard to get hold of at the moment, and stuff like this, that you can order these from the US via Sim Racing Studios website. And if you do want to buy any DOF reality stuff, if you buy it from Sim Racing Studio, my discount code should work, which is KG5. So if you do want to buy something, yeah, bear that in mind because, you know, when you're spending £1,000 upwards, a small discount adds up to quite a lot. But yeah, so someone else can get to enjoy this. And if you're not a rally driver, for example, like me, and you're playing more circuit-based sims where you're not jumping, sliding, being thrown all over the place, then it's probably not going to have that negative impact on your lap times. Although again, there's something to be said. The same applies almost to force feedback. If you turn the force feedback off on your steering wheel, whilst you can't feel so much what's going on, your steering inputs are actually much easier to do. Again, in rally, for example, where if you hit a nasty rut or a lump, that wheel's going to almost try and yank itself out your hand, a bit like if you hit a curb or a pothole in real life, the wheel almost gets pulled out of your hand, especially if you're only holding it with one hand. If you have the force feedback strength turned right down, you don't have to worry about that. You can just steer through it and it makes it easier. So it's interesting really, because what makes things more immersive, motion and force feedback, can actually make us slower in some respects. But anyway, I'm massive tangent here. What was the video even about, Carl? Oh yeah, why I'm selling this. Well, that's why I'm selling it. I want to buy a direct drive wheel. I've got a little competition with my friends that I do every month, and I have to turn the motion platform off to be competitive. And I want to have, you know, my TSPC Racer and Thrustmaster stuff to use to test other cockpits as time goes on. So that's why I'm selling my DOF Reality M2 motion platform. It is a good platform for the money. Like I said in my review over a year ago, it's not as smooth as the Next Level Racing offering, but it's half the price. So as always, to a certain extent, you get what you pay for. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and listening to me waffle. As always, take it easy and I'll see you next time.